Hi everybody, this is Brian Koo with another ROK video, and today we are going to make our Osiris League bets. Osiris League betting is the best gambling activity that we get in Rise of Kingdoms, and there are some very good things in this shop. Let me refresh my memory about what we get when we buy out the shop. Yeah, we get 10k AP, we get some resources, and we get some gold heads. So, generally it's pretty easy to buy out the shop by betting Oryx. But then there's also the Eye of Talent shop, which is a little bit tougher to buy items from because you actually have to predict the team that wins the entire realm. But you can get a legendary material, 4 purples and 10 blues in this Eye of Talent shop. So first and foremost, let me go over who I'm betting on for Eye of Talent. You can see that in the first week here, I have put all my V coins on 60 GT. If you look through 60 GT's group, they just do not have a lot of competition in their realm this season. They might get a little competition from their kingdom mates in 60MX. 1846 has a team here that's getting a little bit of support. And then there's this kingdom 1823, which I'm not familiar with. This looks like it's probably a Chinese name, I'm guessing. And, it looks like some people out there know something that the rest of us don't. And there has been some betting support on 1830. But I think 60 GT is just a very solid bet. They've had a good migration. There's no known departures. It seems like most of their leadership team is still very much intact, although I guess there's some questions about Leopard's future in the game. But you just can't go wrong with a team like 60 GT that has won Osiris League before, spends a lot of money, and has a lot of very good players. You could also bet, and I would probably put a few coins as the season goes on 89 CG in the realm of Bestet. This is Fuzz team from 2489. And again, they just don't have a lot of competition here. And part of the reason that Fuzz group migrated to a very young kingdom like 2489 is because they wanted to have a very good chance of winning a realm of Osiris League. And so I'm going to imagine that they will be very well prepared for this. And you'll notice here that 2489 has 4 teams that qualified for the final 32. So they will also be able to get a lot of practice in as the Osiris League goes on. I think it's possible that SW could give some competition to 2489. They certainly have as much power as 89 CG has. But I would say that as of now, 2489 is the more proven and well-established kingdom. They had a good debut KVK when they played Warriors Unbound against 960 and held them off for a pretty respectable amount of time. And it's also worth noting that in Osiris League this season, armaments do not matter. It is only your gear and the number of T5 troops you have that will determine how powerful you are as an Osiris League player. So I just think it's likely that all the rally and garrison leads on 89 CG and SW will both all have maxed optimal legendary crit iconic equipment. And so it will really come down to the organization of the teams, the decision making of the leadership, and the skill of the players. And I just think that, 89 CG is a bit more proven in that realm. Whereas I would say SW at this point is more known as a whale alliance, and they, lean heavily on the strength of their whales. You could also bet on 1V. I think that's completely reasonable. I have heard that the group from Kingdom 1664 that migrated to 1034 the best players from that team are playing on 1v in Osiris League. So 1v does still seem very strong, and they're a relatively safe bet. I just think the competition in Horus is the highest of any group. 1648, maybe a decent Vietnamese team. There are a few other Korean teams in here, like 1718 and 1753. You've also got 1093 and 365 with multiple teams in the final 32. And it just seems possible that 1v could get knocked off by one of these many skilled teams in Horus. So I recommend going with 960 GT for the majority of your V coins, and maybe throw a few on 2489 if you're just wanting to spread your action out a little bit. So with that being, and by the way, of course, you definitely want to use all your coins as soon as you get them, because the odds basically go down every week. So when you bet your coins in the first week, you're going to get a 16x multiple if that team actually wins Osiris League. And that multiple is going to decrease as the league goes on. Now, as far as our actual league bets and the Oryx that we're going to bet on them, I'm just going to quickly go through the bets that I'm going to place. And I'm going to have 1,750 coins, so I'm going to bet according to that 1,750 coin bankroll. I'm going to put 5% of my coins on LN93. I guess I have to do this roughly. You just have to kind of drag the bar and get close. I'm doing this just simply because they have more power than their opponent, 1753. And it looks like they're a Chinese kingdom. And Chinese teams are traditionally very, very good in Osiris League or in Ark of Osiris. And, you know, as a slight underdog to 1753, a Chinese team against a Korean team, I just think this is a fine small bet on the underdog here. And you will see that I'm generally going to bet on the underdogs in Osiris League, because you typically just get much better value on underdog bets. People like to bet on the favorites. It's just it's a natural thing that happens in all types of sports betting or esports betting, where people just, they see a favorite and they just like that sort of quote unquote sure thing of betting on the favorite. And so you do often get very good bets on underdogs in Osiris League. I'm also going to put 5% of my bankroll on V648. And basically, we played against the number 2 alliance from 1648 in Osiris League, and they were pretty good. They were pretty organized. And so I just think that 1648 is a kingdom that has pretty good Ark teams. They have a power advantage here, and they're a Vietnamese group. And I think there are certain countries that tend to do better at Osiris League, and I think Vietnam has traditionally done quite well in Ark of Osiris. Moving right along, my next bet is going to be on 1158. 1158 is a moderate favorite against 1079. And it looks to me like 1158 is probably a Korean alliance. And someone in my chat when we were talking about these bets on my last live stream just said that 1158 has a amazing lineup where their main alliance roster is just absolutely stacked with players. Nobody has too much power. They're able to sort of fit a lot of very good players into their main alliance. And you can see that they have 8 stars, which is actually the most stars that I've ever seen. And so I just think these guys are a very solid favorite against 1079. S79 won a very close match in the division finals to make it to the round of 32. They played against the exotic War Dolphins, which is a team that I've played against in the past, and they were actually very organized and very good at Ark. So this was a nice win for S79, but I just think 158 is a major step up. And so I'm going to bet 15% of my bankroll on 1158, which is it's about 250. And let me go ahead and grab this last these last bit of Oryx. All right, so the next one we're going to bet on is we're betting on PLA over 93T. PLA is the number 2 alliance from 1034. This is the group that came over from 1664. And while 1093 has traditionally been a very good Osiris League kingdom, 1664 was also a very good Osiris League kingdom. The way most of us first heard about PLA and 1664 is through Osiris League. And so I think with PLA having way more power than 93T, with PLA being a bit more well-rested, well, actually both of these kingdoms are out of KVK now. And I think 1093 just recently did a migration. And so maybe this total power is not reflective of them after they have emptied their hospitals, retrieved their troops from the Hall of Heroes in KVK, and started training again as well. So the 93T power might be misleading here, but I just think with PLA being a very small favorite, that we can make a small bet on PLA here. Now the next bet we're going to do is we are actually going to bet against 1V, the reigning champions. What we have here in 16OT is this looks like it's a Chinese kingdom. They have 6 stars, which is very impressive. They've done well in Osiris League so far with a nice win over CB in the last round. And, you know, when they have more power than 1V and are this big of an underdog, just a massive, massive underdog, again, you can just put 5% of your bankroll on 16OT, and it's inevitably the case once or twice, actually more like 3 or 4 times every Osiris League season, one of these huge underdogs does win, and you're collecting all your bets for the week, and you just have this one payout that's absolutely massive because you were diligent enough to bet on these underdogs that actually have a chance to win. So there we go. There's the bet on 16OT over 1V. I will point out this BLN 1718 match. This is... actually, I don't really want to talk about it too much because I'm hoping to sneak into this match and hopefully maybe cast it if I can get in on time. But anyway, this is like a really good matchup to me. BLN from 1365 against 1718, which is our current allies in KVK. 1718 is a Korean alliance. They're very organized, very good at the game. And then, BLN is a extremely well-known alliance from 1365 with Night King as its leader. And so I just think this is a very interesting sort of clash of a Western alliance versus an Eastern alliance, and just a clash of a very well-known alliance versus a less well-known alliance that is nonetheless quite capable. So personally, I think this is one of the best matchups of the week, BLN against 1718. But let's get to the biggest bet that I'm going to make this week, which is I'm going to be betting on OG to beat TR. And this is just one of those situations where you have an information asymmetry and a reputational asymmetry, and that affects the betting on this match. I will say that this is kind of becoming a popular pick among the expert crowd of ROK, and so the odds on OG have actually... they were a lot better 24 hours ago. They were a bigger underdog 24 hours ago. But essentially what's happening here is that people know the name TR. TR has finished very highly in Osiris League in the past. I believe they finished in the top 4 1 or 2 seasons ago. And so they're betting on TR for that reason. They're also looking at the total power and saying that TR has more total power than OG. But a few things are not known by the average Rise of Kingdoms player who's making bets on these matches. One is that TR has lost a huge portion of the players who actually made up those high-finishing Osiris League teams in the past. well over half of the players, if not 25 plus of the players from TR's old Osiris League teams are not in TR anymore, are not in Kingdom 1254 any longer. So that's one factor here. And the other factor is just that 1254 as a kingdom is not what it used to be. We don't know what kind of leadership they have. I noticed that the leader was Mools the other day when I looked at this, and I was thinking to myself, I thought Mools migrated to 1960. And so now we have a different leader listed on TR, and we just don't know how good the Osiris League leaders are for TR. While OG is just a very solid 1 trillion KP alliance from 1365, and I just don't think there's any reason for OG to be an underdog to a depleted TR here. So we're going to bet 35% of our bankroll on OG, which is about 600 coins, I believe. So we'll just go for 600 here. All right, so there's the big bet of the week on OG. And then I also have a few bets in the realm of Anubis that I also encourage you all to get down on. I have generally in the past always shared my picks with my alliance, and we've always done very well. We've always done a great job of buying out the shop. But this year I'm stepping up to higher stakes and trying to share my bets with the entire YouTube audience. We'll see how that goes. All right, so the first bet we're going to make in Anubis is, again, we're looking for these big underdogs. And it looks to me like 50 CN is a live dog against SV68. They have less power than SV68, but at the end of the day, they have enough power that they will be bringing out full T5 nearly all the time, and they can just heal a bit more than SV68 does to keep full tier 5 out on the field. They look to be a Chinese alliance, and again, we're favoring, or we're prioritizing Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese teams in Osiris League, as they have traditionally played better than their power level, and they have traditionally been the winning teams in Osiris League. Osiris League is very heavily based on good teamwork, and it just stands to reason that some cultures will develop better teamwork over years and years of playing Rise of Kingdoms. At the same time, I think SV68 is somewhat unproven in Ark of Osiris. I don't know how well organized SV68 is in Ark of Osiris. I do know that some of the players that were on TR's great OL teams in the past have now migrated to 2268 and are on this SV68 team. So SV68 does have a lot of talent, but it remains to be seen how well that talent is going to come together as a well-honed teamwork machine in the round of 32 here. So we're just going to bet. You don't have to bet a lot on these, right? Like, I feel very good about this bet. This is I think a very, very good bet, but you don't have to bet a lot. You can just bet 5% of your bankroll, and you will get a very good payout if this live underdog in 50 CN comes through. The next bet we're going to make in Anubis is on T30. And this is some very basic deductive reasoning that we're doing here. T30 has slightly more power than Wano Kuni over here. They have the same number of stars, and I've never heard of either of these kingdoms. However, a bunch of people bet on T30 to win the Realm of Anubis. They're the second most popular pick to win Realm of Anubis. And so I just think it's certainly the case that there is some knowledge out there about T30, and I can't imagine that all those people are wrong. People are not putting their Eye of Talent coins on blind guesses. They are putting their Eye of Talent coins on things they have strong conviction on. So I just think it has to be the case that T30 is a very good team, and since they're only a slight favorite against WA49, I think a bet on them is quite justified. And it looks like We have slightly more coins than I thought. Maybe I underestimated how many coins I should use for some of these bets. So we'll go ahead and bet 240, which is more than 10%. We'll bet 240 on T30. And then for our last bet, we are going to bet on 61BG. 61BG is a 4-star kingdom with the same amount of power as Kingdom 2000. It is the case that Kingdom 2000 has been a good Osiris League team in the past, but they had an unimpressive performance in KVK yesterday. They've had some leadership departures in recent months, although my understanding is their main kingdom leaders are still around. And I just have to imagine that 61BG is probably at worst equal in coordination and skill as RD2K. And so we are going to bet our remaining Aura coins on 61BG. And I will go ahead and now show you all of my bets. Looks like they pretty much all fit here. Yep, they all fit. They all fit. All right, so here's all my bets for the week. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to write these all down. I feel good about these picks. You know, I just went through them on my stream. Some of the people in the chat added some color and some additional information about some of these teams. And what we have here is a rock solid set of week 1 bets to go along with a very, very safe, reliable Eye of Talent bet on 960 GT. The only thing I'm noticing about Osiris League that the shop is missing, and I hope this gets added, is there's no big cosmetic that you can buy with your Oryx. Because what happens is after you buy out the whole shop, you keep betting, and you have nothing to spend your Oryx on except for these rather expensive cosmetics. I bought a couple of them in the past. I bought this Guardian Anubis, which is real nice. And then this Amber Bastet, which I think is a great looking cosmetic. And those are 2 symbols of my Auric wealth in past Osiris League betting. And hopefully this season we will win a bunch of Oryx again, and then we will buy a cosmetic to show off our success. Fingers crossed on that one. Best of luck in all of your Osiris League action. Please like the video if you made it this far. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I will be live streaming later tonight on Friday evening. And I will see you all on the flip side.